Wonderful. Let's do it. Am I starting? Did you want me to start?
Of course,
Okay,
Sarah.
perfect. Okay,
Of course.
my apologies. I know I kind of already started talking in advance, but thank you guys all so much for coming to this webinar, Book Before You Land, conference strategy. As I was kind of mentioning, this is something that we've really started to focus on for us as a company and for our clients, because we consistently hear individuals at conferences, what's the ROI, or how is it that we're going to maximize our time here so that when we report back to our boss or even to ourselves, that we make the most of it. And so we've come up with a lot of really great strategies that we've used for us and our clients. And I can't even take credit for this. This is all of the credit to this goes to Marissa and Ashley, because they work hand in hand with our clients, and they do a lot for our company, and they actually approached me in regards to doing this, and I'm so proud of them, and I'm so excited to do this. And I'm just an ornament. They're here to help give guidance, and I'm just here to interrupt and
That's
storytell
exactly why
whenever
you're
you need me
here.
to. So
Okay.
that's what we're doing here today. Just be an ornament without lipstick.
Okay, so we're gonna have everybody stay until the end because we're gonna have a sparkly little resource, little
We do
bonus.
also
Okay. Sarah, you can give us a little refresher on who you are.
I'm Sarah. I'm on who I am. Sarah, I love head unicorn, Sarah Sparkles, for those of you who might not know me. I guess there is a possibility that there are people that don't know me. Sarah Ruberg, CEO and founder of our Thrive Tribe. I've worked in the dental industry for 15 years in dental marketing, and I really wanted to build a business that helps people build relationships and build their personal brand and self-awareness. And so we work a lot with industry partners, specifically who want to get in front of DSOs, which is what pretty much all of the industry partners in our industry want. So that is what we do. I love plants. Currently moving to Utah in like very briefly, so I get to hang out with any of you that are in Utah in the dental space, and I'm happy to
So I'm Marissa, if you haven't already
Sarah.
figured that out. I've been with Sarah. Sarah's been my work wife for like 2.5 years now. It's crazy. I started November 2022. She calls me the OG unicorn, and we've just grown so much. I'm so excited. I'm the Sparkle Success Manager, which I don't even know if I formally told Sarah that I upgraded my title to that now that I'm saying it out loud. But I lead our team of unicorns. I help us, achieve the best outcomes for our clients, and part of that is being here today and helping you all succeed at conferences. So I'll toss it over to Miss Ashley.
Hey guys, my name's Ashley, or Ash, whichever's easier. I'm probably the newest of the little unicorns here, definitely on this call. I maybe have even had a chance to talk with some of you guys, but I'm not new to sales. I've been in sales and lead gen for, God, I don't want to share my age, but let's say over a decade now. And I am a digital nomad. I've been traveling for 8 years, and currently I am beaming in from Medellin, Colombia, getting some dental work done. Actually, funny to mention that. So I'm really excited. What I do here is I do all the sales, all the lead gen, so that way Sarah can focus on big picture stuff, and I manage the OTT properties along with like Sarah's input. So if you really like our social, if you've really been liking any of the engagements you've seen recently, any of our newsletters, that's been me helping out with Sarah. And yeah, looking forward to meeting you guys a little bit
Love.
more and giving you some ideas about some of the strategies we really have here.
Now we're going to give you guys sort of an overview of what the webinar will look like. So go right ahead, Ashley.
Yeah, so If you haven't realized by now, if you are waiting till the conference to begin your conference idea prep for who you want to meet, you're starting way too late. We need to get you a couple months in advance. So of course we're going to talk about the groundwork that you would need to lay that's going to get you prepared for conferences. And then we're going to talk about what engaging looks like. Engaging is like just a really fancy word for saying how you interact with someone online. So we'll give you ideas that will seem not so creepy, but are actually effective for getting calls booked. And then booking meetings. So the goal here is we're not looking to just get your foot in the door with the person who answers phones or with the person who monitors the info at email. You are talking to the decision maker, the SME, the one that's going to see you as the next best referral partner or the next best person to work with their DSO. So we want to make sure that you're prioritizing your list, and we'll show you exactly how to leverage tools like LinkedIn to prepare for that conference way ahead of time so you're talking with somebody that actually matters and can make impact. And then there's the after conference follow-up. A lot of this goes by the wayside, but we find this is where we get most of our impact. It's not within the first touch at the conference, but it's when you can say, hey, remember that awesome chat we had? I'd really love to follow up, pick your brain. We'll let you know exactly how to nurture those relationships so that way they're effective and you're not just like what a lot of people feel.
Remain to the word is definitely the word.
Stay tuned.
Okay, so let's talk about why pre-conference strategy matters. Ashley got into this a bit. According to CVent, 72% of attendees are more likely to buy from exhibitors they meet from trade shows. Now, this stat is not dental specific, but we know that dental is such a small world, so imagine how that percentage would go up even more. Everybody knows everybody in dental, and when you go to these conferences, you've probably seen these people a million times. So what is going to change about the interaction now that's going to make you stand out? So you want to make your presence known before you step onto the conference floor. Maybe it's your first time at Dykema. Dina, I think you said it was going to be your first time at Dykema. That's a big deal, and so everybody knows Dina on LinkedIn. Everybody loves her, and so this is a perfect time for her. When she steps on that floor, everybody's going to know who she is. She's doing it exactly right. But conferences are a blur. You need to make that lasting impact. You all go to so many conferences. You don't remember who you met where. Did you meet them at Dykema? Did you meet them at Women DSO? Like it's hard to remember what happened. So you really need to, make yourself stand out and differentiate yourself. And you also want to establish your game plan and any momentum before the badges are even printed. Before you even go, be on the lookout, and we'll obviously get into more detail in all of this, but be on the lookout for who's going and know who you want to talk to before you even get there and what your ultimate goals are when you do get there.
So let's talk about how to find the right people before the conference. So we have a saying at OTT that we love, and it's a little conference pre-stalking goes a long way when it's intentional. Like we honestly say, it really can't be that creepy if it's actually intentional, right? So it's 2025. You have to imagine at this point, any conference worth going is going to have a couple of really important web properties. They'll have a corporate page, they'll have a brand page, they should have a conference page with either a web page and a social media presence, and they should have some awesome hashtags. You need to find all these properties and follow them like it is the last thing on earth, because that's where you're going to find out who's going when and what they're doing. And not only are you going to find your attendees, this is the time to start nurturing those relationships. Start commenting on the events page. It doesn't matter if you're the first one there. You be the one to make the splash, because that's the sort of impact that people are going to remember. They're going to go, oh, I remember that page, or oh, I remember that photo, I remember that post. When there's no time for you when you're trying to identify who you're speaking to talk to someone who just answers the phones. And a lot of sales, we talk about like it's a numbers game, but you're thinking about quality over quantity. So when it comes to Dykema, you're not talking to the person that answers the phones. You're not talking to the person that approves social media. You're talking to the person that makes a decision about who they partner with next. And that is big. You can use a lot of social media to get these answers yourselves. Now, I will say LinkedIn is super freemium like everyone else, and it's really pay to play. So if you're still operating on the LinkedIn free option, this will be a lot more difficult for you to do well. And another thing to consider, if you are still operating with an antiquated LinkedIn profile, all of this right here is not going to be worth a lot. So one of the first things we suggest you do while you're also looking at who's going, when you start commenting, remember these people are going to be looking back at your page. You want to make sure that your LinkedIn profile is refreshed. And that's actually something we do. We literally have a package called the LinkedIn Profile Refresh. Sarah can talk to you all about it later, but that is really important for this step as well. So you found your key decision makers. You're going to start engaging early and often. And engaging, like I said, is just how do you make contact online? It can start from as small as a like, to a connection request, to a follow request, to a DM, to a comment on a post. And all of these are important, and all of these matter, and all of these are weighted differently. You want to make sure as much as possible that you're using every single option to connect and engage as possible, because LinkedIn rewards those that use the platform well. When you're also engaging, you want to make sure you're keeping track of everything and looking for overlaps whenever you can. So I'm going to steal this from Sarah, and this is something like we really only tell our people, okay? So you guys are lucky you're hearing this on this webinar. But you want to think about your industry juggernauts, and Sarah is one of them. So if you are in the LinkedIn space, and if you want to get contacts with DSOs, and you don't have at least 500 connections with Sarah, what are you doing? What are you even doing? Do better. LOL. I'm joking, not to pressure you, but this is one of the easiest ways that you can actually start to increase your impact and actually make a statement on the platform. And when you reach out to someone and they're like, oh, why are you talking
That's
to
exactly
me? I don't know why
right.
you're talking
And Ashley brings up a really good.
Well, I certainly didn't expect you to say that. Can I say,
Of course.
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No.
Well, I was just going to say, and Ashley mentioning that you have to update your profile. Don't anybody look at mine, because I literally am the worst example because I'm blonde in my picture. And this is actually really important. I went and sat down next to one of my women in DSO mentees, talked to this young lady every week on Zoom. I sat down next to her and she didn't even recognize me, because my picture on LinkedIn was different. It took her a couple of seconds. So I will be updating. I know, do as I say, not as I do, but I will be updating it. And I'm sure we will talk about this, but one of the things, and Marissa, if I'm skipping ahead, I'm so sorry. One of the ways that you can identify who's going to Dykema, especially, I don't know if you guys have all noticed, a lot of people are announcing this sooner than usual. I usually will post the week of that I'm going, but I have seen so many people talk about the fact that they're going now. So pay attention to who's going, but also in the comments section, who's like, I'll be there, see you there. I think I just saw a post that they announced Dave, the CEO of Smile Partners, is going to be there. So we certainly know now that he will be there. I don't know if he engages on LinkedIn, but it's a good thing to know that he might be someone under
And that's
target list,
exactly
so maybe reach out to him on
that's
LinkedIn.
exactly right. I think we do have it somewhere in the further slides, but
That's
the
my story,
comment
and I'm
section is a
sticking to
great
it.
place to look to, because maybe somebody isn't that active on LinkedIn to where they're going to make that announcement post, or maybe their team isn't active, whatever it is. But a lot of times those people will comment and be like, yeah, I'll see you there. Can't wait to see you. So then it's like, okay, you know that they're going to be there. Being consistent is a way to warm up the LinkedIn feed. Back to what we were talking about, as far as when you get there, people want to know who you are. Like I said, dental's so tiny. If they see somebody they don't know, they're going to be like, who the heck is that? And do we trust them or do we not? Everybody needs to know who you are heading into it. So being consistent, whether it's your personal page that you're posting on, whether it's your company's page that you guys are posting on, you want to aim for at least 2 posts a week is what we recommend, if not more. But obviously, if you are just starting out, 2 seems a little bit more palatable. But yeah, you just want to share your voice leading into that. It doesn't need to be salesy. It doesn't even really need to be about you, because we always run into the situation of people not wanting to share too much on their personal pages, and that's totally fine. There's ways to share your insights without it being your life story. And yeah, sharing those insights. If you've attended this conference before, share last year. I know Dykema always has the spasmatics, and Sarah gets so excited. So maybe there's like a throwback picture, like, oh, remember last year when me and so were dancing around and doing all the things? That could be fun. Or if it is your first time at one of these other conferences, you can say that, like, hey, it's going to be my first time. I'm so excited to go. Does anybody have any tips? Is there anything that I should remember to do, even in the area? People love conversations like that, I feel. And the main thing overall, whether it's a conference, whether it's just your LinkedIn presence in general, is just being authentic. So post with your genuine excitement, highlight what you're looking forward to. If there's a panel that is announced that you're like, wow, I really can't wait to go to that, say that. Shout that person out on LinkedIn and be like, I'm so looking forward to so-and-so's panel. My goal is to learn this. I'm so excited. You can even say too, if anybody else is attending, let's sit together. It's a great way to just, you want to be connected when you already go there. Like, I know they're like technically networking events, conferences, but like the networking happens before you go there, and you're just expanding on those foundations when you get there. So yeah, that's what all this is for, all this prep work now.
So, when it comes to booking meetings, this is a subject I feel like we could talk about all day, and for a lot of people, it's honestly the most nerve-wracking and anxiety-inducing out of most of the stuff that we do to get prepared for conferences. However, if you do the correct groundwork, like we're suggesting beforehand, this part is actually really easy. And that's what Marissa was talking about before. If you've already been following the hashtag, if you've already been in all of the comment threads, if you've already been reaching out and messaging to people and saying how much you really love that post or how much you're really excited to meet, then this part is going to seem this part's going to be a breeze. So when you think about, I would say, like the general lead gen sequence or whatever, it goes from cold to warm. So from stranger to trusted friend. It's a really weird when it comes to marketing. While people love newbies, people absolutely hate strangers. So you want to corner yourself as a newbie, as in I'm new friend to you, and not like I'm a stranger. And you already know already that each platform really has like this little spammy underbelly, and it like clogs our inboxes, and it doesn't matter. It's up to you at that point to make sure that you don't sound like just another canned message. Like, you don't sound like you're just copying and pasting and sending this to 50 other DSOs, CEOs, like that. If that's what you're going to do at this part, don't start this part, because you're not going to get very far. What we like to suggest is there's two options. If you're going from, let's say, ice cold, then I like to start with something that's like the friendly hello. Hey, I see that you're working with this, and I think that it's awesome that you do this. I'd love to connect. And then you send that message. And then it lets them know, at this point, you maybe already sent a like, you've already sent a follow request, and maybe you've already commented on a few of their most recent posts. This is a nice way to sort of ease you into the conversation. This is great for ice cold. Now, let's say you've already been chatting for a little bit, and maybe like you've already said you're going to Dykema, that you can't wait. Then I love a thoughtful connector. It's pretty direct and to the point. Hey, I see we're both going to Dykema. I'm planning on going to this session. Would you like to join me? That's a great way to let them know that, yeah, like at this point we've already established something. We know each other. Let's see if we can hang out. And it suggests something that's pretty low energy. Like, you're already going to go to sessions already at Dykema, so it's not like they would have to change too much about what they're already doing in order to still get a chance to meet with you. And Dykema, so I've heard, can be so much all at once. These meetings sort of need to feel like they seamlessly integrate with the demands of the conference. So try not to do too much off, like I would say, like off the platform, or too much away from from where it's being hosted, because that will be a lot more difficult to get people to want to connect. And the most important part of it all, and this is probably the most boring for everyone, is that you need to keep track of it all. Metrics matter. For everyone, I like to think of this step of the process as, what's your MVP? What's your minimal viable product? What can you commit to doing that will help you keep track of all of these reach outs and connections and these meetings you're making? For some people, they already have an amazing amazing, robust CRM. It's with HubSpot already, and for that, they can seamlessly integrate all of that into that. And for that, that's awesome. We say go for it. Of course, if you've got like a HubSpot already, if you've got the machine of a Soho behind you, this is what you use these connections for. But if you're not that big, or if you're not really interested in that, something like a Google Sheet can do just as much effect in creating the same outcomes. And you can have a Google Sheet, and can have corresponding documents that hold all of your messaging sequences. And then you can check off as you go who's responded to what message and what you've decided to. Now, say you've like, oh, I would love a sheet, but if I have to think of one more thing to create, I'm not even going to do it, Ashley. Then I tell people, your phone notes app. Get your phone notes app. Keep a running log. Say, Sarah, 3 p.m., dinner, lunch, breakfast bar. Keep that going. That is the very least low-hanging fruit that'll make sure that you're also not dropping these balls. Because it's one thing to do all that nurturing for 2 months and then completely forget to meet them because you didn't have it written down somewhere. So don't be that person.
I wanted to mention too, I meant to think back to who this person was, but somebody was showing me at ADSO, they had this app called Blink. It's like BLINQ. And it was basically like a virtual business card, and so you could scan the QR code. So it would give people your LinkedIn, your email, whatever contact information you want. And then if you have the app, it'll also store those people so you can see where you met them at. Because again, back to, you're meeting so many people at conferences, where did I meet this person? It'll show you exactly where it was, what time, all those types of things. So I thought that was a really cool app because again, it just gives you all the information you need. It kind of just does it for you. So yeah, I downloaded it and it's really cool. Anyways, okay, so building buzz as a brand. So, we talked about how to post for yourself and things like that. Keeping it consistent as well, creating a conference branding template. Now, some of these bigger conferences, like Dykema, for example, they're going to have those assets for you to announce that you're going, especially if you're speaking, they'll have those types of things. Not every conference does, and that's okay. That's something that we can work on together. So I always suggest, whether it's, like for our Thrive Tribe, one cohesive branding template to say like, hey, Sarah's going to a conference, Craig is going to a conference, and it's the same thing. It, builds brand recognition, brand awareness, all of those things. Everybody knows where you're going, and it's simple. When those conferences do come up, you just have a little template, plug and play, you're good to go. Now, posting a link to book or connect, also huge. So whether that's a part of your announcement post, like here's a Calendly link, here's some time slots that I'll be available for those days at whatever conference, makes it easy. And when you are sending those messages, that could also be an easy way to be like, hey, here are the times I have available, make it easier for them to find a time to connect with you there. Showcase your expertise, like what we were saying earlier, being authentic. It doesn't have to be salesy. If I know Mr. Andrew McMath is in here, RCM King, and so he doesn't need to post about all the cool things he does, but also based off of what he posts that he's an RCM expert. He knows what the heck is going on, and okay, when you see him there, and if you're with the DSO and you have RCM questions, oh shoot, I know McMath, I know he knows RCM, there you go. And team engagement matters. So even if, like, let's say Sarah's going to a conference and I'm not, or Ashley's not, we can still post on behalf and be like, if you're interested in our services or learning more about how to connect with DSOs, Sarah will be there. She's our head unicorn, and you can connect with her there. And, just having that engagement, the more eyes, the better. So, yeah, and the main thing is sparking conversations. We're building trust, and you're making your brand and yourself the one that everyone wants to meet at these conferences. Because again, there's so many people, a lot of them are repeats, and so why should they want to talk to you this time? I think is just the question we should always be asking. But it's, yeah. Of course you can,
Marissa,
Sarah.
can I say something? Am I
Of
allowed?
course.
Okay, sorry. I just love listening to you guys. You're adorable. Something I thought was interesting was I oftentimes look at my content over the course of a year to see what performs well so I can, create the same type of content. And my fourth highest performing post over the last 365 days is my
Wow.
announcement of me going to Dykema last year, which really kind of shocked me. And then when I look in like my top 10, it's a lot of event announcements. There's tons of engagement. There's like over 200 likes, 65 comments, and it's such a great place to find who all's going. And when I see other people's posts, they perform really well too. So if it's something that if that's not in your strategy, I really want everybody to reconsider that, because it should be, because everybody wants to know. Y'all know how we are. We're nosy as hell. We want to know, where's everybody going? What's everybody doing? So I would certainly make sure, and again, I feel like people are announcing it sooner this summer than later. My personal rule of thumb is I like to do it the week of, but I mean, they're still performing really well. But if anything you take away from any of the things that I say today, please make sure that you do
Kaylin
an
brings up a
announcement
good point
post.
too. I'm so sorry.
So, you know that we're all here because we're really excited about conferences.
Okay, Kaylin,
Oh, no,
this
wait, go
is, what
ahead.
do
I
they
didn't see
call
what you
it when
said.
it's like you say, when you don't say something because you assume it's known because
She
you know
mentioned
it? Anyways, we totally did that. Yes, if you're making an announcement post and you're making your own template for it, pl I guess, no, the knowledge
Common
bias.
knowledge?
Okay, include the conference logo so people know where the heck you're going. Don't just write down the conference name, put the conference logo as well. That was it.
Good point. Yes. So we know we're all here to talk about conferences. Dykema, it's the Super Bowl of dental. It's literally one of the biggest events in dental industry. If you wanted a sign, if you're on the fence, like should I go or shouldn't I go? Here's your sign. Go. It's gonna be August 6th to 8th in Denver, and it's gonna be focused. If your focus is on DSO growth and partnerships, this is definitely not one that you want to miss, and you should start planning now. Like Sarah's been saying throughout, there are people already saying they're going. I know Craig's gonna be going, and Sarah's going from our team. And next, we have the Dental Tech Summit. DSO Tech Summit is happening on September 17th through the 19th in Nashville. And this year, they're actually going to be doing something really cool, AI deployment in the DSO tech space. I know for some of us, we thought of AI as being the big bad wolf, and for some of us, we were really excited and jazzed about all of the implications and what that might look like. So if you are just on the fence, if you're curious, this would be a great place to learn about the nexus of tech and our industry.
Yeah, and that segues perfectly into Optimize. It's called Optimize the Dental Playbook. That's happening the 18th and 19th in St. Louis. So you'll notice DSO Tech Summit and Optimize have a little bit of an overlap, and they're doing something super cool that Miss Sarah came up with, and I think that so many more people need to be doing it in the industry. They just called out the elephant in the room. Hey, we're happening on the same couple days. Why not divide and conquer your teams? They have a bundle where you can send one person to Tech Summit, one person to Optimize, and cover all your bases. And I believe in total, whether it's the industry partner pricing or like the DSO dental professional pricing, I believe it's a savings of about 30% if you get the bundle versus if you got two individual tickets to each event. And so Optimize is going to be all for your rev team, your ops team, all of those types of people. And so Tech Summit is going to be your CTOs, stuff like that. Like Ashley said, they're talking about AI. So both incredibly important conversations to have. So yeah, that's a really cool bundle that they're doing, and I think it's so awesome. Actually, not to plug something crazy, but the next Boston and Bubbles episode, we're going to be having Chrissy and Michelle from DSO Tech Summit. So they will be talking more about their events and the bundle and all of those fun things. All right, we're breezing through this, you guys. Okay, we're already at the Q&A. That's crazy.
Well, Marissa, and Ashley, one of our attendees asked about Dykema having a graphic, and I know that we've made one for our clients. I haven't registered for Dykema yet, Don't tell Brian. He'll be very mad at me. I'm just kidding. He won't. But I know that we have one. So if there isn't one, we include that in our information that we send, like with the
Did we
recording, we
lose
send that
her?
out for so people can use it.
I think we,
Sarah,
I
you
think
kind
we
of went a
lost
little
her.
quiet there. What's
I
the
think
last
we
thing
might
you
have
just
lost
said?
Sarah. There you are. Yes.
I tried.
Welcome back.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Could you repeat what you said? Like it
I
sounded
am.
like you were on the road and then I
Oh,
lost you.
I unplugged. I unplugged my
fantastic.
microphone. Oops. That happened. Yeah. No. I Mary asked a really great question. She asked where they can find the Dykema graphic, and I know that we've made one for our clients. I don't know if Dykema provides one or not. So can we include it with the
Yeah,
recording
we
just in
totally
case?
can.
Yeah, Mia
Perfect.
made one.
Yes. So if we
Yes.
can include that. And I see I see Dina's question about a good strategy for picking a meeting spot, and that is an excellent question, especially if you've not been to Dykema before. Um, it is at the Gaylord in Denver. It is, if you have not gotten a room there, um, I highly recommend that you do. I think there may still be rooms in the room block. If there's not, there are rooms closer or hotels close to the airport, and you can see the Gaylord from the airport. It's
Oh
not too,
no.
oh, it's sold out. Darn it. Okay. Um, it's not too far, so that's good. Uh, but a lot of stuff does happen at the Gaylord, and so I'm even going to kind of take it a step further because we do have time, and I'm going to kind of talk about when people get there. Some people get there on Tuesday. The welcome reception is not until Wednesday evening. If you want to go to the pool, if you want to go to the spa, I highly recommend the spa because it is amazing. But there are a lot of people that get there early and schedule meetings or hang out at the bar. So Tuesday morning, Tuesday afternoon would be great. Um, Dina, as you're walking through, so you come into the hotel and you go right, there's this really long hall. There's like a gift store on the left hand side. On the right hand side, there's like a little market. And then you kind of come into this opening and there's like a coffee stand which hardly is ever open, which is very surprising to me. And then you go to the left down the escalator to the conference. And so by this coffee stand is where I see most people schedule meetings. There's a lot of seats, couches there. There's also seating right in front of the market that you'll pass by. So I would say those would be really, really common places to set up meetings for you. Or you can meet at the bar because we all know how we roll in dental and everybody hangs out at the bar. So yes, the Starbucks, and it is, but it's just never open, hardly ever open. So that would be my suggestion as to where to meet.
That's so weird that it's never open because I've definitely heard you say that before, and they could make so much money if it was.
They really, really could. There's a lot of also something interesting in regards to the Gaylord is there's not a ton of stuff right around it, and I think that's why they like it because they want to keep people contained so that we're all spending time together. Not very few people that I know of go off property to have dinners and things like that, and they've just recently gone through a really large renovation, so there's opportunities um, to there's plenty of restaurant opportunities on property to use, so we don't have to go off property. I feel like I just said property.
What would your, I actually have a question, Miss Sarah. What would be your recommendation for, let's say somebody's been to Dykema a million times, maybe it's not their first time. How do they make this one the best one that they've gone to? How do they make it different?
Get an outfit for the spasmatics for sure. I'm just kidding. Not everybody wants to do that. That's just
but they should.
Um, I think I think there's a lot of people that do really well with the meeting strategy, but I mean, even they should, yes. Even I had not done like the greatest of jobs in regards to the meeting strategy, and so what I will say, and obviously this is what we're talking about, and I think I'd mentioned this before. Speaking of Andrew, I'm pretty sure 2 years ago I stood in front of the inside desk booth and did not leave. I could not even take a step and walk away from it because it was so busy and so many people were stopping and talking to me. So if you think that you exchange email or cell phone with somebody, you're gonna be able to text them and meet them, even if you were 10 feet apart from each other, there's a good chance that you are not gonna make it to one another because it is such a busy conference. So I think if you've been a million times, definitely do your research and pay more attention to who's going, because I think that that will really help with because a lot of people on this call have people that they have to report to in regards to leads or who you've met. And I know I personally believe that you don't the relations these are built this is the time to build relationships, right? Like this is the time to build the foundation. So it's not necessarily that you're coming away with all these leads or sales or anything like that. But paying attention to who's going in advance and talking to them on LinkedIn, I think will make a huge difference. So if you are not doing that now, that's like the number one thing that I would recommend that you do. Post more, engage more, get to know people. It does not take long for somebody to recognize you and say, man, I see you everywhere on LinkedIn. Pretty sure everybody knows that Andrew McMath, aka Bloodbath McMath, is like, yes, is he like the RCM king? Like, sure, but also he has a lot of interests. Recently married, like people want to know those kinds of things about us. You don't have to share everything, but in utilizing a LinkedIn strategy, I think a lot of people are missing the mark on that. And I just hope that, again, if there's something you guys walk away from this, is knowing that LinkedIn can be really powerful to help you maximize results from conferences. And yes, I agree, Andrew, participate in the activities, and you will meet a lot.
My personal recommendation, for Andrew, yes, you will get the deck afterwards. My recommendation is actually for you, Andrew. You should post your hair care routine. I think people would really, would really want to hear that at the meeting you went to. The other thing I was going to say though was about, I want to know too. I want to know
I want to
too.
know about Andrew.
It's something that's on my mind. Get Eric in there too. You guys can do a little dual POV hair care routine. I think everybody wants to know. Okay, but what I was gonna say also was in regards to like what is considered a successful conference, like especially if this is one of your first time, or maybe you haven't been to as many. Like, I think all of our advice would be not to get caught up in, again, you're not likely gonna like close things here, but it's gonna either, maybe you've already have a connection with somebody and you're continuing to build that foundation. Maybe you're connecting with somebody fully new. Like those are all wins, and to me indicate a successful conference. It doesn't have to, you don't need to put it in a box of like what is success or not. And I think, Sarah, I'm sure you could talk more about it, but I'm sure that's something that a lot of people are worried about. And like, the whole ROI thing, these conferences are expensive. Why is it worth it for me to go and to do all these things? But those are all huge things that you're getting away from being there.
I think you guys make a good point. The sales cycle, people don't realize, can actually be obnoxiously long. It might take someone a full year, especially if you're looking for an industry partner relationship, because they're possibly spending somewhere around $50,000. It might take them a year to decide that they want to do that. And in that year, all of the engagement and the outreach that you do is pushing you towards that goal. If you drop at month 8, then there's a good chance that you'll end up losing what could have been a possible nurture sequence. So they're right. Conferences does not mean I did some nurturing. I did 2 months of nurturing. I met someone, and then boom. No, expect that a typical sales cycle for something for a disposition this massive could take anywhere from 6 months to a year. But that means 6 months to a year of consistent communication, consistent engagement, consistent posting, consistent like reach outs, meetups, things like that. Not just a year and one conference. So keep all of that into perspective.
Something else to also make sure that you do is take pictures. Please take pictures of, and I know there's going to be so many people that post the traditional, here we are at our booth. Don't do that. Post pictures of you with people, you having fun. Like, make sure to take pictures, because in addition to the announcement post, it's really important, at least something that I've seen, is to have a post-conference LinkedIn post. And it shouldn't be where you just tag a bunch of people. It should be meaningful. Was there one specific instance that you remember, whether it was learning from a panel, or you sat down and talked to, I don't think she's on this call, but I sat down and talked to Gretchen at AADGP, and we had the most majestic, amazing conversation when everybody was like off doing something, and it was like she shared her life story with me, and I was so appreciative of that. And we talked about her future and what she wants to do, and it was really meaningful to me. Post about those kinds of things, not just, wow, I learned a lot from XYZ. Like, you can say a lot about yourself without saying anything. So talking about what you've learned, that says a lot about you. And if you can't post it right afterwards, hey, 4 weeks later, I still don't even think I've posted or made a recap post for women in DSO. But you know what? I could do it tomorrow and be like, I never did this, but I'm going to post it now, and I learned all these amazing things. It's still relevant. I still went there. I still met those amazing people and had those conversations. Like, it could even be something that you use in the future. But those recap posts are gold. So do not skimp on that either. So
the recap posts are definitely huge, and like Sarah said, everybody's going to have that photo in front of the booth. I wouldn't say it's bad, but I would just say make sure you get other things. If that's the bare minimum of what you get, it is what it is. But there's definitely so much better we can do, especially somewhere like Dykema that has all these different events. Take pictures of the spasmatics. If you're at yoga, take a picture of, whatever poses you guys are doing. Like, there's so many things that you can post. And also, to Sarah's point about making meaningful recap posts about whatever conversations you had or whatever. Another good way to keep track of that, because maybe you're going to a conference right after. Like, Sarah, I think that's literally what happened to you with Women in DSO, because right after that is when you guys came up for ADSO. So it was just back to back. And so in those situations, what you could also do, we talk about the Notes app and things like that, and that's easy enough. But we can all also record like voice memos on our phone. So sometimes if it's something like that I need to remember, you can just say, like, at the end of the night or whatever, and you get back to your hotel after night 1, night 2, whatever, just give like a quick recap of what you remember. We went with so-and-so to dinner. We had this conversation with so-and-so at the booth, or, whatever. Like, just very quick recap, I think, will go a long way. And that's also something you can pop in a ChatGPT later. If you want to do, like, can you give me a recap post? Like, that's an easy enough thing to do, or at least, like, have ChatGPT summarize, and then you can write the post based off of that as well. But yeah, I think those are all really good points. Because you want it to be impactful and not just like, oh, that was so much fun. Like, okay. It's nothing. It doesn't mean anything.
Something else to take into consideration when it comes to sharing pictures from these, if you're used to photo dumps on Instagram, LinkedIn ain't it, sis. Like, that's not how this works on LinkedIn. If you guys, I'm sure, have seen pictures, like, people's heads are cut off. So I personally like to create a collage. I go into Canva, I upload all of my pictures, and I like to put multiple pictures on one, in like one graphic. and it won't cut it off or cut their heads off. So what happens is if you want to share a whole bunch of pictures, you need to actually upload them, or I'm sorry, download them from Canva as a PDF, and then share it that way and upload a document. I don't know why they make it so complicated, but it's just so cringe when you see, like, you can't just add all your pictures and then people's heads get cut off. Like, it's not a great look. So I don't know if that's like the most comprehensive. Maybe I should do like a separate post about that, or if you have questions, reach out to me on LinkedIn and I can help you with that. But the best way to do it, in my opinion, is a collage. And if you download it as a PDF and then upload it as a document,
Not miss
that
it.
would be best. So then people can scroll through it and not be like, why is
That's a really good pro tip, because whether it's a conference or if you just have like a multi-photo post that you want to put, you can't just drop it in there like Instagram. It has to be in a PDF. Like Sarah said, I don't know why they do that. Dina, you're so funny. I don't know why they do it like that, but yeah, that's an important pro tip to know. And also, too, I made a conference recap post for somebody, and they got so many questions about, like, oh my God, what did you do? Because it was like the photos, but then in the center I had like a video that she had taken and gave to me, and it was just like, I don't know, just made it a little bit more interesting. So there's definitely apps. I think I literally just use an app called PhotoGrid, but I mean, you can use any app, but just something to make it a little interesting. You can even make it a little bit branded. The little outline photos could be, or the little outline line could be like your brand color, like whatever. There's definitely a lot to do with it, but I always think collages are the easiest way to lay all that stuff out, because like you said, Sarah, like the photo dump, like the Instagram photo dump is not it on the LinkedIn.
Any more questions?
Oh my God, hi Eileen.
Hi, Eileen. We love you. The first time I ever met Eileen was actually at a conference, and actually Eileen did it right. And she'll argue with me about this, but I personally think that Eileen is the queen of LinkedIn. And before I met Eileen at the DSO Tech Summit, I had seen her all over LinkedIn, and she was, gosh, Eileen, it was less than 6 months that she'd been in the dental industry. I'd seen her everywhere. She came from a totally separate industry. And I saw people like,
Yep.
hey, I see you everywhere on LinkedIn, Eileen. Like, that's how you do it. And it was primarily because she was engaging in people's content. She was creating her own content, but it's the engagement is what really, really matters. It's like the comment section is like, what do I call it? It's like the cocktail hour at a conference. You look around, you see who's talking to who knows who, and you don't have to wait for somebody to be done talking. Like, if you see, I don't know, if you want to talk to Steve Bill, and he's over there talking to Eileen, and you don't have to like wait for them to be done. If you want to talk to Steve, who actually just posted something really great on LinkedIn today, about how they're working to do amazing things in the community or communities who need it, you could just comment on his post. And is Steve Bill maybe going to respond right back to you? Maybe not, but it might potentially lower that barrier of entry, that when you do introduce yourself to him, he might be like, hey, I saw you comment on one of my posts. So I think I've said 5 times, if you walk away from this with anything, so
Hopefully you don't walk away at all.
everything, but
Hopefully you just stare.
engage with people. Listen to everything that he said.
But also, now that Eileen is here, that's another.
Hopefully. Marissa,
Now that Eileen is here, that's another great way to just immerse yourself in the
Sorry.
space, especially if you are an industry partner. Join DVIN, join a call. All these people I'm sure are going to be going to Dykema, or at least a good majority of them. And again, it just makes you more relevant in the space. You are just, people are seeing you. Maybe you don't even say anything the first call. That's fine. But like, people be like, oh, okay, I wonder who that is. And I always, on those calls, or like the Women in DSO calls, I always go through and like make sure I'm connected with everybody. Because it's just like, why not? Like, yeah, we were both on that call. That was a really great call. Nice to connect with you. It's as simple as that. But like, that also just brings you top of mind for whoever it is. And I think it, again, like Sarah said, it's just all about lowering that barrier of entry. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. Steve, that is a great point. Um, yeah. And actually, speaking of Steve, that segues perfectly into this last slide because he's always posting fantastic quotes. So, internally, what our Thrive Tribe does, I put together these Unicorn Leadership Labs meetings. And so every month we have them, and it's just like what we want to focus on leadership wise for the month. And so we always end with a quote or an affirmation. Always love affirmations, but I always end it on something. So again, not to sound like Sarah, but if there's one thing you take away from this, there's one more thing you take away from this, add to the list. You can add it. But yeah, you don't have to wait until you land to make an impact. That's what this entire like overarching theme is. Like all of these things that you're doing, engagement, posting, joining these calls, just really immersing yourself in the community. All of those things are building your impact as you go. So that way when you do land, you step onto that conference floor and everybody's like, oh wow, I've been seeing them all over LinkedIn. Now they're here in the flesh and I can talk to them and we can chat. I know what to chat with them about because I know them to some extent. I know what they're about. I know what their expertise is or what they're interested in. So yeah, that's yet another thing to take away from this call. Is there anything that either of you would like to add before we close out here? Of course.
Industry partners are also important to meet with too. So this is a great opportunity to meet with and connect with a lot of different people. But if the last thing I'll say is most of the time people will say the reason that people don't post on LinkedIn is because they're afraid. I don't know what to say. What if I don't have anything important to say? What should I say? Newsflash, you all have something important to say. So we can all, get over that. Do you have to share every personal piece of your life? Absolutely not. You can share a quote. You can share, go back through conference pictures, and if you find a picture of you with somebody that you really loved talking to, or they've become a good friend of yours in the industry, talk about them. Talk about industry news. Beth Gaddis and Brian Kaleo do their State of the Industry, I think quarterly webinar, podcast, or recording. Take some pieces from that and talk about what you think about from the industry. But LinkedIn works, and if you want to, and DSO decision makers are there. So if you are not on LinkedIn, you are definitely missing a huge opportunity. So you are important. You have something important to say. It's not about numbers. It's about being yourself.
That's my favorite Sarah smile. Okay. To wrap up though, this QR code will take you straight to our LinkedIn page. From there, you'll easily be able to find any of the three of us. And I think we all probably have links on our pages to book calls with us, or if you just want to chit chat, it doesn't have to be about sales. We can just chit chat. I'm always down for a little yap session. I think we all are. But yeah, I will also be sending the recording. I think we're going to be posting it too. We'll send the recording out, and then as well as the deck itself, so that way you guys have all of that. And then as promised, we are including a resource. It's going to be a conference execution checklist. So again, all the things we went over today, and while you're there, you can kind of reference and be like, okay, here's what I need to do, or here's what I need to make sure I focus on. And then like Sarah said, we will also send over the template for announcing that you're going to Dykema. But yeah, I think that's it. I think we did it. But thank you all for coming and
guys.
for being great and amazing. And we want to do more of these. So if you guys have any ideas for topics you'd like us to cover in the future, there's like sky's the limit. I think we all have probably a million ideas. We're just going to need to narrow it all down. But yeah, we definitely want to be doing this more frequently. We'll figure out cadence. But thank you all so much for coming. everybody who came, who registered, who will catch the replay. Thank you all so much. Yeah, any parting words from you guys? Yep. Tea.
Have a majestic rest of your day.
Bye, you guys. Thank you.
Great. Kill it.
Bye.
Bye.